You're at the airport. The gate agent scans your boarding pass. The screen flashes red. She looks up. Sorry, this ticket isn't valid under the new rules. You freeze. What new rules? You booked months ago. Everything was fine yesterday. But now, standing at the gate with passengers stacking up behind you, your entire trip hangs on a policy you didn't know existed. Welcome to 2026, where the rules changed, and travelers are learning it the hard way, at the gate, in real time, when it's too late to fix anything. Here's what's at risk: denied boarding with a confirmed ticket, confiscated luggage at the gate, unexpected fees for things that were free last year, complete removal from flights with zero compensation, all because you violated a regulation that didn't exist 6 months ago. Airlines report a 42% rise in on-the-spot denials since January. Nearly half again, as many passengers are being stopped or removed compared to last year. Many are travelers who followed every rule perfectly and showed up prepared, only to discover that prepared means something completely different now. If you fly in 2026, this affects you. Elite status or first-timer, domestic or international, the changes are universal. Enforcement is inconsistent, and most travelers won't know until they're watching their plans collapse in real time. Here's the deception. Passengers think they understand the rules. Carry-on limits, liquids, ID requirements. But the new rules aren't about what's in your bag. They're about what airlines can now demand as a condition of boarding: biometric verification, updated battery standards, new medical documentation, revised compensation policies, all enforced without warning. This is happening right now at airports from JFK to Atlanta to LAX. Stay until the end, because one of these changes could cancel your trip, and you won't see it coming. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the 5 biggest policy changes that quietly took effect in 2026, what they mean, how they're enforced, and the one rule that has travelers furious. You'll learn the exact mistakes costing people flights and money, and how to be the traveler who moves through the airport with zero surprises. Because airlines don't want you to know these rules until you've already paid and committed. They profit from confusion. They profit from last-minute fees. But you're here now, which means you're about to know what's coming before it hits. Let's start with what's catching the most passengers off guard: the carry-on crackdown. Airlines are now enforcing smaller under-seat bag limits and strict gate weighing. And what used to slide through in 2025 is now being stopped and charged at the gate. That roller bag you've used for years, the personal item tote that always fit before, they're measuring now, they're weighing now. And if your bag doesn't meet the new standards, you're paying on the spot. Picture this: you're in the boarding line. The gate agent has a metal frame sitting right next to the podium. Impossible to miss. She points to your carry-on. Can you place that in the sizer? You've never had to do this before. You try to slide it in. It catches on the corner. Doesn't fit. She doesn't negotiate. She hands you a tablet. That'll be $75 to gate check. You look around. Half the people in line are getting the same treatment. This is the new normal. One traveler at Denver paid $100 in surprise fees because his backpack, the same one he'd carried on 20 flights last year, was now 2 inches over the revised personal item limit. He didn't know the dimensions had changed. The airline didn't warn him, but the charge went through anyway, and he had 10 seconds to decide: pay or miss the flight. The fix is simple but requires action before you leave home. Measure your luggage with a tape measure. Every bag, carry-on, and personal item. Compare those measurements to your airline's updated size chart. Not last year's chart, this year's chart. Buy a lightweight digital luggage scale and weigh both bags fully packed. If you're even close to the limit, repack, downsize. Plan to check one bag voluntarily. Because voluntary check-in costs $30 to $50, gate check fees run $75 to $150. You're paying either way. Control when and how much. Now let's talk about something that's catching travelers completely blind: smart bags. Lithium-powered smart luggage must now have removable batteries visible for inspection, and the definition of removable has gotten stricter. If the battery is embedded in the bag's frame, hardwired to a USB port, or requires tools to access, that bag is no longer compliant. And here's the terrifying part. Some passengers didn't even realize their suitcase had a built-in battery until it was pulled and denied at check-in. Let me tell you what happened in Atlanta. A woman checking in for a connecting flight was told her smart bag couldn't board. The battery wasn't fully removable. She had 12 minutes to make her connection. She couldn't access the battery compartment without a screwdriver. She had to choose: abandon a $300 suitcase at the counter or miss her flight. She missed it. Rebooking cost her another $400 and an overnight hotel stay, all because of a 10-second inspection she didn't know was coming. If you own smart luggage, go check it right now. Find the battery compartment. Can you remove the battery completely without tools? Without disassembling the lining? Without peeling back fabric? If the answer is no, that bag is a ticking liability. Every time you fly, you're gambling that the gate agent won't check. Eventually, they will. Switch to Luggage with external tool-free battery access or skip the smart features entirely. It's not worth the risk. And that's not the only new scan causing delays. Major U.S. airports have now rolled out mandatory facial recognition and digital ID verification at security checkpoints and boarding gates. The process is fast when it works. You step up to a screen, it scans your face, matches it to your passport or driver's license photo in the federal database, and clears you in 3 seconds. No paper, no physical ID exchange, just your face. But here's the part that's making people uncomfortable. Your face is now your passport. The system captures your biometric data, stores it in federal databases, cross-references it with TSA records, and uses it to verify your identity without you ever handing over a physical document. It's efficient, it's invasive, and refusing the scan can stall your entire flight. Gate agents are trained to present facial recognition as the default, the expected process. If you opt out, they treat it like an anomaly. You get routed to manual verification, which takes longer, draws more attention, and sometimes results in additional screening. You do have the right to opt out. But most passengers don't know that, and the ones who try to refuse often do it wrong, arguing, lecturing the agent about privacy, making a scene. That gets you flagged, not accommodated. Here's how to opt out correctly. When you reach the checkpoint, calmly say, "I'd like to opt out of facial recognition and use manual ID verification instead." Don't explain. Don't debate. Just state your preference and wait. They have to accommodate you. It's slower, but it's legal. And always, always carry a physical ID. Real ID compliant driver's license or passport. Because when the digital system glitches, and it will, you need a backup that doesn't rely on servers, apps, or biometric scans. Now, for the travelers who carry medications, medical devices, or health equipment, this next update is critical. New medical declaration requirements now apply to liquids, injectables, and battery-powered devices like CPAPs, insulin pumps, glucose monitors, and portable nebulizers. What used to be waved through with a quick glance is now being logged, swabbed, tested, and sometimes questioned. TSA officers are requiring verbal declarations before your bag even goes through the X-ray machine. If you don't declare medical items up front and they appear on the scan, you're getting pulled for secondary screening every single time. Here's what's changed. The process itself is mostly the same, but enforcement has tightened significantly. Officers are trained to flag any liquid over 3.4 ounces that wasn't declared as medically necessary. They're swabbing cooling packs, even if they're clearly for insulin. They're testing inhalers. They're asking for documentation on battery-powered devices, especially for international travel, where some countries now require pre-approval letters from your doctor. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. The travelers moving through security in 2 minutes are the ones who separate medical items in a clear pouch, declare them verbally before screening, and cooperate calmly when officers ask to test or inspect. The travelers stuck in secondary screening for 20 minutes are the ones who buried everything in their bag and hoped no one would notice. Here's exactly what to do. Pack all medical liquids, injectables, and devices in one transparent pouch. Place it at the top of your carry-on. When you reach the officer, say this: "I'm traveling with medically necessary liquids and devices. They're separated here. I'd like to declare them for screening." That's it. You've flagged the exemption, prepared the officer for what's coming, and shown that you know the process. They'll test your items, swab your hands, maybe ask a question or two. Then you're through. Keep labels visible or carry a printed medication list with drug names, dosages, and your prescribing doctor's contact info. It's not legally required for domestic flights, but it speeds up the process. And if you're flying internationally, check your destination country's rules ahead of time. Some places restrict codeine, pseudoephedrine, or even common anxiety medications. Know before you go. Finally, let's talk about money, because this is where most travelers are leaving hundreds of dollars on the table and don't even know it. New DOT enforcement guidelines now mandate automatic refunds for major delays, but only if you know they exist and claim them correctly. If your flight is delayed more than 3 hours domestically, or 6 hours internationally, for reasons within the airline's control, mechanical failure, crew shortages, scheduling issues, you are entitled to compensation. Not vouchers, not future flight credits, cash refunds. Here's the problem. Airlines are not advertising this. They're not proactively offering refunds at the gate or in delay notifications. They're waiting for passengers to ask, and most passengers don't even know to ask. They accept the delay, grab their rebooked boarding pass, and move on, leaving money they legally earned sitting in the airline's account. You have 30 days from your travel date to file a claim. You need documentation, original itinerary, delay notifications, the reason code provided by the airline, and proof of the disruption. Most airlines bury the refund request form deep in their website or app. Find it, fill it out, attach your evidence. If the delay qualifies, you're getting money back, sometimes hundreds of dollars depending on ticket price and delay duration. But here's the fear factor. If you don't claim within that 30-day window, it's gone forever. The airline keeps your money. You lose your leverage. Most travelers won't even realize they're entitled to hundreds of dollars because they assume delays are just part of flying now. They're not. When airlines fail to deliver the service you paid for, you have rights, but only if you exercise them. Track every delay. Screenshot every notification. Save every email. Document the reason given at the gate, because when you're back home and the frustration fades, that documentation is your path to compensation. But the last new rule is the one that's sparking outrage everywhere. And it's not about bags, fees, or refunds. It's about control. Who has it at 35,000 feet? And what happens when you try to push back? Here's the rule that has frequent flyers absolutely furious. Airlines quietly changed elite status and points redemption rules mid-year. And your miles may suddenly be worth less, even if you earned them fair and square. This isn't a minor tweak to the fine print. Major carriers restructured their loyalty programs in early 2026 without grandfathering existing members. Points you earned last year under the old system are now being valued at 30 to 50% less for premium cabin redemptions. Elite status thresholds increased. Upgrade priority changed. And the kicker? Some airlines retroactively adjusted your lifetime status progress based on the new calculation methods. Let me make this concrete. A traveler who spent 15 years building toward lifetime platinum status woke up one morning to find she'd been moved back 2 tiers. Not because she did anything wrong. Because the airline changed how they count qualifying miles, and her historical travel suddenly didn't meet the updated thresholds. 15 years of loyalty erased with a policy update and a vague email about program enhancements. Frequent flyers call it betrayal. Airlines call it modernization. But the effect is the same. Passengers who plan trips around point values, who structured their travel to maintain status, who chose one airline over another because of loyalty benefits, all of them are now recalculating whether their loyalty was worth anything at all. And if you think that's the end of it, wait until you hear what some carriers are quietly implementing behind the scenes. Several airlines are now introducing passenger accountability tracking, a digital behavior system that logs repeated boarding delays, carry-on violations, gate disputes, or customer service complaints. It's not advertised, it's not disclosed, but it's there, running in the background of your frequent flyer profile, building a behavioral score you'll never see, but that could affect your future bookings. Here's how it works. Every time you trigger extra screening, every time your bag gets gate checked because it didn't fit the sizer, every time you have a documented interaction with a gate agent or flight attendant that gets logged as difficult, it goes into your file. Accumulate enough flags, and the system starts treating you differently. You might get selected for additional screening more often. Your upgrade requests might mysteriously always come up short. Your customer service calls might take longer to resolve. You won't know why. The algorithm doesn't explain itself. A digital note you'll never see, but that could quietly determine whether your next trip goes smoothly or turns into a nightmare of delays, denials, and dead ends. It's accountability without transparency, enforcement without appeal. Now let's pull back and look at the full picture, because when you add up all these changes, the pattern becomes clear. Shrinking luggage dimensions, enforced at the gate with immediate fees, smart bags with embedded batteries, denied without warning, mandatory facial recognition, opt out at your own risk, and delays. Medical items, declare or face secondary screening. Delayed flight compensation, only if you know to claim it within 30 days. Loyalty programs, restructured to devalue your miles. Passenger behavior tracking, logged silently, enforced invisibly. Piece by piece, these small updates form a system that rewards the informed and punishes the unprepared. Every rule works alone, but together they create an environment where the margin for error has disappeared, where assumptions cost you money, where ignorance isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive, time-consuming, and sometimes trip-ending. This is the 2026 travel landscape. The rules aren't designed to inform you, they're designed to test you. But here's the good news. You can outsmart this system. You can be the passenger who moves through security in 3 minutes while others wait 20. The one who boards without surprises while others argue at the gate. The one who claims compensation while others leave money on the table. It just requires preparation, awareness, and a few simple habits. First, check your airline's Travel Updates 2026 page before every flight. Not just when you book, but 48 hours before departure. Rules update constantly. What was true when you booked might not be true. Second, download the MyTSA app for live rule changes and checkpoint wait times. It's free, accurate, and updated in real time. If there's a temporary restriction or new screening procedure at your airport, you'll know before you arrive. Third, keep printed copies of your boarding pass and ID. Yes, digital is convenient. Until your phone dies, the app glitches, or the barcode won't scan. Physical backups eliminate that entire category of problems. Fourth, always declare medical items calmly and early. Separate them in a clear pouch. Present them before screening, and cooperate when officers test or inspect. The 2-minute traveler declares proactively. The 20-minute traveler gets pulled for hiding items. Fifth, document everything when things go wrong. Screenshot delay notifications. Save reason codes. Photograph gate displays. Because when you file a compensation claim 30 days later, that documentation is the difference between getting paid and getting ignored. And finally, measure your luggage, check your bag's battery compartment, and know your airline's specific rules before you leave home. The gate is not the place to learn you're non-compliant. Your house is. Knowledge isn't just power in 2026, it's protection. It's the difference between smooth travel and missed flights, between expected costs and surprise fees, between moving forward and getting stuck arguing with an agent who can't override the system. The rules changed. The enforcement tightened. The margin for error vanished. But you're here. You know what's coming. And that makes you one of the prepared passengers, the ones who move through airports with confidence while everyone else scrambles to adapt. Don't let the next policy update catch you at the gate. Stay informed, stay ahead, and never assume 2026 will work like last year. If you've ever been stopped at a gate or hit with a surprise fee, it's not your fault. The system changed, and nobody told you. Share this video with anyone flying this year. One share could save someone from a gateside disaster. Subscribe so you never miss the next rule change airlines slip through without warning. The 2026 travel game has changed, and the only passengers who win are the ones who see it coming. Drop a comment if you've been caught by one of these new rules. Your story could help someone else.